Hey everyone, welcome to day 23 of the Win or Learn 25-day risk-taking experiment. 23, can you believe how far we've come? And today's a great day because we're gonna look at dating and relationships through the lens of the win or learn mindset. And it's going to be so cool because you're going to be able to apply all of these tools and the different strategies, and you're going to see it's really not so complicated. And we're not talking about just romantic relationships. We're talking about all types of relationships. And what's amazing is we really don't get an education when it comes to how to get close to people, how to share our feelings in vulnerable ways in all sorts of relationships. So this is going to be wonderful because it's going to be very clear that you now have a way of approaching these sensitive situations that you might have been thinking, I don't want to touch this. Now you can dig deeper. You might want to make this part of your risk-taking experiment. Here are 5 things we learned. This is our informal relationship education. This is what sets us up for disaster. This is what screws us up. This is what lingers long into our adult years and causes just a tremendous amount of drama and discomfort. So we learn sharing our feelings is stupid, right? When you're a kid and you share your feelings and somebody doesn't reciprocate, that's dangerous. This could also just be sharing our feelings is dangerous. When you're a kid, you're like, I'm not stupid. I'm not doing that, because we see that if you like someone and someone doesn't like you, everyone likes to make fun of you. The game is make everybody feel like less so everyone could feel like more, so you don't feel like you're deserving or worthy of what you want. Isn't that crazy? It starts so young. See, we're undoing so much of this because we've been living these patterns most of our lives. We learn that we are all defective. I like this. I like the ear part because this dog has these ears pointing to his ears. And, my ears protrude. They stick out. I've had to accept them. Remember, change what you don't love, tolerate what you can't change. And I've embraced that my ears separate me from all the flat-eared men of the world. And I'm okay with that. But when you're a kid, you don't recognize this, and it becomes really dangerous and uncomfortable. Then we learn that hooking up is easier than dating because you don't have to share your feelings. You let one thing lead to another, and then nature takes over, and all of a sudden, you know what's going on, right? And that's how we design this, because we're so afraid of going after what we want because we're so afraid of getting hurt, and a lot of us don't feel worthy and deserving of what we want. In The Naked Roommate, one of my other books, I actually list the 17 forms of the college hookup. There are 17 forms. There's probably even more forms. But it just illustrates this idea that we don't really learn how this works. We don't learn how to take the risk and understand how to work through the outcomes. We learn it's all a big accident. It happens when you least expect it, right? That's how I found my first love. I wasn't expecting it. I decided to give up, and boom, that's when it happened. And when things are an accident, you don't have much power because you're waiting for other people and other things to act or react because there isn't a lot of intention. And then eventually you get hurt. Then we get hurt and we want to hate, hide, or attack. We realize men are a-holes, women are the B word. I hate the B word. I don't even like mentioning the B word. And couples in love suck, because this is what happens. We end up being in this place of just anger, of regret, of second guessing ourselves, of pain. It's unbelievable that we could be awful at sharing our feelings. We could never feel good enough. We could hook up without knowing how to date. We can never feel in control. We can hate men, hate women, hate couples in love, get married, have a family, and hope we stay together. Because success in relationships, it's not about having a healthy, honest, balanced relationship where you're able to communicate freely and listen and engage and have meaningful dialogue where you don't always agree, and that's okay. That's not how we learn how to approach intimate relationships where there's deep emotion involved. We learn the opposite. And this is why it becomes so difficult to then engage in other parts of our lives. This is why it is so hard to address what we want, because so many of the things we've wanted have turned out to be so incredibly painful, or we've been judged because of the things that we've wanted by others. And it gets to be so scary. So many of the things that we're facing and so many of the things we're compensating are based on this misunderstanding, this lack of knowledge and training when it comes to putting ourselves out there. I mean, win or learn is all about getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, appreciating that not everyone and everything is going to always give us what we want, but yet we can still have value. Where do we learn that? Well, we learn that we don't have value when we are growing up. That's what being a teenager is about for so many people. When you take the win or learn mindset and apply it to dating and relationships and incorporate these steps, it becomes much easier to navigate through all of the emotion, because it doesn't have to be so emotional. It doesn't have to be so difficult. It doesn't have to be so dangerous. And it starts with embracing the universal rejection truth. See, once you embrace this universal rejection truth, everything changes. I wrote another book on dating and relationships, and one of the most common pieces of feedback I got was this was so liberating. It helped me to look at my past relationships and recognize that sometimes relationships can be imperfect. I don't have to be the one to take all the blame, and my partner doesn't have to take the blame. Relationships could just be imperfect, and that's the universal rejection truth. There's a timing, there's a reason, and it doesn't always have to be that one of you is flawed and imperfect. It could just be that the process is, and that's how you can find closure. Embracing this truth is so beautiful because it gives you value and it allows you to say what you think and express how you feel. And if you have people and places and you work hard to make sure that you're supported, you know that you're going to be okay no matter what. Training. I have this picture of David in a thong. It's this idea of training in a thong, and a metaphorical thong, training physically, emotionally, and training spiritually. This idea of looking in the mirror, and deciding you're going to change what you don't love and learn to tolerate what you can't change, that you're going to love yourself physically and you're going to work to be your best emotionally, and spiritually, you're going to create a life where you will be okay no matter what. When you are trained spiritually, you are grounded and you have a sense of purpose and passion and meaning that's independent of other people and other things. And that's the power of training. And this win or learn mindset will enable you to do this. Having your people and places and being patient gives you the power to be able to express how you feel, to set boundaries. When you know there's more than one person in the world who you can love, who will love you, you don't have to put up with something that doesn't feel right. A lot of people will put up with things that just are unacceptable. And when you live in a world where you have lots of people in your life, and you live in a world where you have lots of places, you could be patient with yourself and other people, but you can also set boundaries. And in abusive relationships, one thing a partner loves to do is make sure that the other partner has no people, has no places, doesn't feel a sense of worth, and is always impatient and panicking, right? So you can see when you are being controlled, that person will want to limit who's in your corner, the places where you feel connection and community, and your sense of balance and your sense of self, which causes impatience and panic. Step 3, no more excuses. Excuses are just things we use to cover up our insecurities. That's why I have cover up here, because we're great at talking ourselves out of doing certain things or saying certain things, or we'll forgive other people's actions and behaviors when there are no excuses. So when you can adopt this mindset and practice it on a regular basis, you don't need excuses because you're willing to face discomfort. And when other people are using excuses, it becomes pretty clear and you're able to work through that, or at least uncover the truth so that everybody can recognize what's really happening. When you adopt this mindset, you can take a risk. Success is about taking action and how you choose to tell your story. It's about offering without conditions. It's about letting the world participate in you, and however the world participates is the way it is, because if you're constantly working to train physically, emotionally, spiritually, to have that foundation, to have those practices, to have those habits, you will start telling your story, a very positive, bright story, again and again and again in all parts of your life: social, emotional, physical, financial, academic, or professional. The emotional one, the reason I want to dig deep into this is because this tends to be the most delicate. This tends to be the hardest one for so many people, because again, we aren't forced to look in the mirror and face the discomfort that comes with our most intimate relationships. Step 5, celebrate, reflect, and repeat. You're familiar with this. In the world of dating and relationships, it's so important to celebrate the act of offering, to recognize that if someone doesn't respond the way I want today, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen in the future. And if it doesn't happen in the future, that's okay, because something else will happen in the future that's wonderful. I have a picture of a burrito, because a lot of times when I talk to college students, I say, hey, take a risk, share your feelings. And if you go home alone at night with a big burrito, and that's not slang for anything, I mean a burrito, you know that if you told someone how you feel and you expressed the things that you wanted, if somebody didn't want that, that's okay, because while you're home with your burrito, they might be thinking about you. They might think about you in the future. You might end up being a couple several years down the road. Your only job is to offer, because then it makes it safer for people to respond, knowing that you're interested and that you find them interesting. Then you can reflect. What went right? What went wrong? Can you change the outcome? The reflecting part becomes so much more manageable in the world of love, because if you've trained and if you've gotten comfortable with the uncomfortable and you have your people in places, you're willing to ask difficult questions. You're willing to face uncomfortable truths because you love yourself. And if people don't love you in return, it doesn't make you any less valuable or worthy of love. It just makes you not a match for that person who you are interested in. And this is the same for jobs. It's the same for friendships, relationships. You want to make sure that you align with the people who are going to see you and appreciate you and your value. And then repeat. You repeat the same risk, or you take a new risk. In the world of dating, you got to talk to lots of people. Some people are going to be interested, some are not. When you're in a relationship, I'm married, and I have to do a lot of repeating. I ask a lot of the same questions, and I'm always listening and I'm always learning. And the thing about my wife is she's always changing and I'm always changing. And because we're willing to listen to one another and constantly doing the work, when we don't get the results we want or the outcome we desire, we're able to listen and ask questions and repeat, using the information that we've accumulated to hopefully get what we want or respect each other's boundaries. My love story, and I'm going to be real quick with this. I love this lesson. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. So I went through a lot. I really worked hard to try and figure out how to find love and how love works. As an advice columnist, I really wanted to figure this out. But more importantly, as a single dude, I wanted to find some love. So after working very hard, taking risk after risk, doing a lot of what I've shared with you, training to know that I have worth and value, I was at the UPS store making copies, and this woman walked in and she gave me that feeling. I thought she was really intelligent looking, and I thought she was really interesting and attractive as well. And I walked up to her and I said, "Hey, I feel like I know you. Are you from here?" And she said, "No, I don't think I know you." And I said, did you grow up here? And she said, "I lived here till I was 5 and I moved away." And I said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's you after all these years." And she looked at me very confused. And I said, "Actually, I'm just kidding. I don't know you, but if I did, this would be so exciting." And she thought that was funny and didn't run away. And then we talked for a while and I said what I was thinking. I was really nervous and scared because I'm just not that cool with this stuff. And I said, "It was really nice talking to you. Can I give you a call? Can I get your number?" And she said, "Sure." And she gave me her number. And this is actually the actual receipt. I'm dating myself here, but this is the first time I met my wife face to face. The other story is I had reached out to her on an online dating site. She doesn't remember this, but I saw her profile and she rejected me. She never got back to me. So she rejected me first. See, the best things in my life start with rejection. But she gave me her phone number and we went on a date, and it was a wonderful date. We went to Kingston Mines, this blues club, and went to dinner at the Half Shell. And it was such a wonderful time. We dated for 7 days. On the 8th day, she said she needed space. And in the past, I would have been upset. See, she was rejecting me. And I really liked being with her. But I said what I was thinking. I said, "It was really nice, spending this time with you. And if you need to date other people, you should. And I'll force myself to as well." And instead of fighting rejection, I faced it. And I did this because I knew I had options. There was another girl on an online dating site that I had gone on a couple dates with. I liked Stephanie, but I respected her boundaries. And what's crazy is because I was really comfortable with rejection, she was a little surprised how friendly I was and how comfortable I was with this. And 2 days later, she called me and asked if I wanted to get back together. And then a year and a half later, I asked her to marry me, and she said, yeah. She said yes, and we got married. And it's been a crazy, wild, beautiful ride. And we have learned so much about ourselves, and we've learned so much about each other. And here we are today. Actually, this isn't today because it's pretty cold here today while I'm recording. But here we are in the summer, and that's my family. So there's my wife and my kids, and we all live by this rule of, we try to be honest with each other, and we listen, and we know we won't always agree with each other, but we give each other permission to share what we need to share, and we do our best to listen and be as welcoming to each other's truths. And it's a beautiful thing, and I'm really grateful for it. We try to adopt a win or learn mindset, regardless of how much I try and how hard my wife tries to make life comfortable. There's a lot of discomfort. There was a lot of discomfort in growing up and being a teenager. And all we can do is just be there, listen, love, and be the people, and help our kids find places so that they could be supported. This win or learn mindset translates into any relationship, and it really is so powerful and transformative. And I'm just so grateful that I could share this with you and to be in your corner as you continue to create change and experience all these incredible things in your life. So here's your assignment. What has been your most challenging relationship? How has it helped you? How is it holding you back? You know how to share the story with me. I would love to be here so you can share whatever you want to offer. This is a personal one, and I know this can be difficult. So share as much as you're comfortable sharing. You can get this to me via any of the ways we've discussed. The Facebook group is such a nurturing community. It's a great place. You can also find me on social media. Wherever you feel comfortable sharing, send me a note. Also, if any of this speaks to you and you want to share this with other people, please let them know. I'm so happy to be in their corner. I'm so happy to be in your corner. I'm so grateful to be here with you, and I look forward to continuing the conversation. Thanks, everyone.